Always forget that part for some reason. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Statutes. I do have a PowerPoint to help liven this up a little bit. And you guys should already have, there we go. And you guys should already have the handout packets on Moodle. All right, so welcome to class. I know it is bright and early. 9 a.m. is way too early in the morning for most of us Portlanders to get up and rolling, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad to be here. So what even is statutes? So I want to take a moment just to kind of put into some context what it is that we're going to be talking about. We are essentially going to be getting into the law. What does the state of Oregon have to say about the practice of massage in the state of Oregon? Today, we're going to focus more on Oregon. Next week, we're going to talk more about Washington state regulations and kind of compare the two. But we're going to be introducing ourselves to various forms of professional regulation. So regulation happens at a couple of different levels. We want to talk about those. We want to talk about the rationale for and against regulation. Like, why do we even bother? Does it do us any good to pay a bunch of old folks to sit in a room and come up with rules about something that they don't even do? We also want to understand the legislative process as it relates to massage. So if you guys remember that old, I'm just a bill, I'm just a bill. What was that? What was that? Schoolhouse Rock? You guys know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know. All right, we're going to talk about how the Oregon revised statutes are organized. So where do things go? So basically, how do I find what I'm looking for when I'm looking at this really, really long, boring legal document? And we're going to become familiar with the Oregon revised statutes scope of practice and their definitions section. So I think that will do us for today. Next, expectations. Well, guys, we meet twice. It's today and next week for like 3 hours. I expect you to make it to these 2 classes with 100% attendance, please and thank you. I also expect you to participate in all class sections, not just being here, but engaging, asking questions, answering questions, and please make sure your cameras are on. Thank you very much, guys. Complete all the activities inside and out. There is a homework assignment at the end of this class that will be due next week. There is a final exam at the end of class next week, and you'll need to pass all of that material with at least 75%. I do not think you'll have a problem. Today, we're going to take a tour of the various board websites. So we're going to take a tour of the Oregon and the Washington State Massage Board websites, just to get a feel for kind of where things are located, what it looks like. Really not so that we just remember every detail, but more so that when I have a specific question, now I have a resource and I know where to go and I know how to find what I'm looking for on the website. We're going to name major sources for massage rules and understand the differences and what the rules are covering and why. We're going to navigate the law books. So I hope you guys remember your law classes, right? We all went to law school, right? Yeah, of course. Navigating the laws. Old hat now. And we're going to discuss rules covering major aspects of an LMT's career through the Oregon revised statutes. So before we really get started, couple of things that I just want to mention to you guys. First things first, welcome to the government. If it seems repetitive, if it seems oddly specific, if it seems like they are really splitting hairs with the way that they're writing this stuff, yeah, you're catching on then. Yeah, that means you're paying attention. Welcome to the government. It is extremely complex and they do it for a reason. For more information on that, take a political theory class. However, for our purposes, welcome to the world of acronyms. Everything in government is referred to by some 3-letter title, some 3-letter name, and that's just the way it goes. So IRS, FBI, CIA, NBC, CBS, welcome to the world. You just got to get used to it. So it does seem like, you're talking about the OAR or are you talking about the ORS? Because to my ears, it's just a bunch of letters. But these are distinct documents and they mean different things and the words are very important. The second thing that I will point out is the law is self-referential. What I mean is In order for the law to do something, it has to have the power to do the thing. So we will constantly be citing other areas of law to justify what it is that we're trying to do. What I mean is, when you look at the law, it will say something like, this body is enacting this legislation pursuant to Chapter 904, Section 3, Paragraph 4. And it just drops that citation and it moves right along. If you really need the context, you've got to take that citation and you've got to go dig through the law book and find Chapter 407, Section 2, Paragraph B, or whatever the fuck it was I said. You've got to find that exact citation in order to get the context as to what this piece that we're looking at is about. So don't get discouraged. You're not expected to know the entire law. All you are really expected to do is understand, how do I look up what I'm looking for? So if you know how to use a table of contents, if you know how to use the index of a book, if you know how to use a Google search, and if you know how numbers work and can count, then you should be able to find the section in the law book that you're looking for. So there you go. It looks really complicated and it looks like a lot. If we take a breath and go through piece by piece, just like medical terminology, it's not quite so bad when we start breaking it down. The third and probably the most heartfelt one that I will tell you guys is, this is the law. Nothing I can do is going to make this exciting. We're talking about the rules, guys. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not fun. I don't have a lot of fancy activities up my sleeves. We're just going to have to money through this. My recommendation, grab some coffee. If everybody does not have some coffee, we can take a quick 5-minute break and we can go grab some coffee real quick. I'm cool with that. I'm about halfway down myself. So stay caffeinated, try to stay engaged. I'm trying to make the PowerPoint as interesting as I can, but at the end of the day, my friends, this is the law. It's meant to be boring. It's just the way it is. And despite its crazy reputation, Florida law is not much better. It's pretty much cut and dry, the same as it is in Oregon. All right. So if we read the material, we know that we were supposed to check out some stuff before coming to class and bring some takeaways. I'm really interested to hear what you guys what you guys thought. What did you pick up? If we could boil it down to kind of like 2 takeaways from the latest Borderline edition. Anything exciting happen? Anything interesting going on in the world of the Board of Massage? Just jump on in, guys.
I noticed they, especially like reading the actual minutes from the meeting in November, they really had a long discussion about what constitutes a healthcare worker. I don't think I quite realized how much of a rift there is in the massage world between people who want to be considered healthcare workers and not. But I was kind of chuckling at how much of a like back and forth, like, well, there's this thing and there's this thing, and these people might be upset and these people might be upset, because I think they were trying to figure out how they were going to set some more firm laws about like masks and vaccines.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that I absorbed.
That's a very interesting point, Tilly. Yeah, and there is a huge divide, and it cuts a couple of different ways. You know, you've got the more clinical massage therapists who want to be seen as medical providers and healthcare workers because they're working in hospitals and nursing homes and chiropractic offices, and they're billing insurance. And the massage that they're doing is either prescribed or it's a medical treatment for a condition. On the other hand, you have energy workers, light workers. You've got people who are doing more energetic modalities who, you know, they're like, no, you guys have a place in massage, of course, but I don't need to follow all these rules because I'm not working in the same kind of environment. You also have the people who are just against regulation. They just don't want to be regulated just on principle. it's a really interesting profession that we work in, for sure. Good observation, Silly. Who's next?
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I was coming across the same. I was like, well, are we healthcare workers or aren't we?
Yeah, right.
And yeah, and I noticed how they were tossing it back and forth on whether we were considered a healthcare worker. There was one discussion as far as like whether we needed to provide an interpreter if the person didn't speak English. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it's something I'd never considered, that you might have to provide an interpreter for a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like it goes more with the healthcare side of it, not as much. But if we all become official healthcare workers, then it would be something that we would have to add into our figures.
Exactly. Anybody else?
I really enjoyed the bit about the place getting shut down for prostitution.
Oh, yeah. I usually do not enjoy those stories. I mean, no, I don't like that it's out there that it's happening. Yes, they should be shut down. Don't misunderstand.
Yeah, I appreciate that they get found out and shut down.
Yes, absolutely. Did anybody read anything about the emergency orders? Do you remember what was going on with the emergency orders? Anyone? No. My goodness. So when COVID hit and the emergency orders were made, the board made new rules saying that during the pandemic time, the continuing education requirement for contact hours, like the continuing ed classes that have to be in person, that entire requirement is suspended. So the number of hours required for continuing education was reduced so that you could get by with just the required classes. You can do them online and still meet your renewal and renew your license. That is set to expire. So what the board is wanting to do now is create rules so that if the governor declares a state of emergency like this again in the future, that this rule reducing the continuing education hours would automatically go into effect, that they wouldn't have to convene and pass rules each time. Also, the rules that allowed the board to not meet in person, that the board wrote their own rules to allow themselves to meet virtually, those rules would again automatically go into play once the state of emergency is declared. So again, boring, tedious work, but it's a way to try to make their own work a little more efficient. Good stuff.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of,
go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of what I read was just about COVID and whatnot. Like they were pretty thorough with everything, which seemed like a great source to get a bunch of information dumped on you.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically my input.
Lots of stuff about COVID. Yep. Well, the situation is very fluid and has been for a long time. So when in doubt, the best place to go is the Board of Massage website. If they have any guidance, they'll put it there. But they've also said if a therapist is like turned into the board for not following COVID policy, the board isn't disciplining those therapists, except for the most egregious cases. They are instead educating the therapist on best practices. So if you're turned in for like not wearing a mask, whatever, they're not fining you. They're just basically sending you literature. So these are the websites. This is for the Oregon and the Washington State Boards of Massage. And I want to start with the Oregon Board of Massage. which you're probably aware looks like this. So as we scroll down, all the major important changes are going to be listed here. So as the COVID situation changes, as things ebb and flow, keep checking back on this website. If anything new comes about, if there's any new restrictions or any relaxing of restrictions, it will be posted here for you guys. The vaccination requirement for healthcare facilities. So people that work in hospitals, people that work in assisted living facilities, retirement homes, nursing homes, things of that nature, required to get COVID vaccines. New license delivery process. We're going digital. Finally, Oregon is moving into the realm of digital reminders to renew your email instead of mailing you a postcard through the snail mail. You get an email now. When you renew your license, they email you your license, and then you have to print it out on paper. Continuing education and late waiver fee. So here's the details of their reducing the continuing ed hours required to renew during the COVID time. Also, if you're late renewing, they're waiving the late fee. The board has moved to a new address in Salem. This is slightly old news, but they've just left it there so everybody knows. And then we've got our three basic areas. Licensing. So if you have questions when renewal time comes, like what do I need to renew a license, you can find that there. Licensing information, apply for licensure or facility permit. So this would be where you go to apply for your massage license after school or when you decide to open your own massage location. Check license application status. This is the one when you apply, you're going to come back to this website and click that button and hit refresh like 50 times a day and just keep refreshing over and over because eventually your license will be there. And I don't know the exact ins and outs, but at least in Florida, once your license is posted online, print that page, you're good to go. You can start massaging for money. The paper license will be mailed to you, but you don't need the paper license. You just need the license number. And then once you get that, you should be licensed. It'll have your for real license number on it, and then you're good to go.
Did they change that though, that they'll email it to you?
Yeah, I'm saying for Florida.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. In Florida, where I'm from, you hit that refresh button over and over. Eventually your license number pops up. They say give them up to like 6 weeks. I've seen it go as fast as a week, but COVID put them like months behind. So I don't know where they are at the moment. But once your license is posted online and it's there to see like your name, your license number, it's clear and active, you can start massaging for money. Like your career has started. The paper license, they'll send it to you in the mail, but you don't need the paper license in hand to start working. You just need the license number. So in Oregon, yeah, once it's approved, they'll email it to you. So once you get the email, you're good to go. You've got your license, you're good. So search licenses and facility permits. When you guys took my communication and ethics class, do you remember me talking to you guys about how your stuff is public record and the public can look up the reasons that your license got revoked, right? We probably did that in class. Didn't we pull up the board website and read those things as to what they did to get their license taken away? And some of them were like, oh, child, you were waiting for your license to get taken away. You knew it was going to happen. This is where we go. Search licenses and facility permits. If you know their name or you know the business name or you know their license number, you can search by those fields and it will give you a whole list. So let's see. Oregon Board of Massage Therapists, I'm going to search for a licensed massage therapist. And there's lots of different statuses that your license could have. I'm going to go with active. And when I search by my name, oh, look, there I am, David Holden, licensed massage therapist, 26151. That's me. It'll tell you the date it was issued, the date it expires, all that stuff. Now it says up here, action, no. That's a good thing. That means no actions have been taken against my license. That means I haven't gotten in trouble. No is exactly what you want to see, because the best record is a clean record. But if anything had been done against your license, whether you'd been disciplined or reprimanded or whatever, it would mark it there. So guys, your information is public record, and the things that you do under your license can follow you. Now, if you're doing everything properly, you're doing everything by the, following the rules, then this is what you get: a big fat nothing. There's a license and a name and not a very interesting story.
So if
The best
you,
career. Go ahead.
if you're curious about, like, before you go and get a massage, you can go to this, find out what's going on with the person, and then decide if you want to get a massage from them.
Absolutely. So while this won't take the place of things like customer reviews, this will at least tell you if they've ever been in trouble. And I'll say most therapists have not been in trouble. The vast majority of us go to work every day, we massage our clients, we clock out, we go home, we do our job. But every now and then, as you guys saw in my communication class, every now and then someone does get into a little bit of trouble.
Which is probably more important to know than what somebody else thinks as far as how they give a massage. Everybody's different as far as what they enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For those of you guys who are out of the loop, in my communications class, one of the things we do is I will search licenses for massage licenses that have been revoked. Ooh, look at that. Action. Yes. All the way down. So these are all licenses that have been revoked. And final order. Ooh, here it is. Here's the revocation of his license. Paragraph 3, licensee was caught watching a client undress at a tanning salon he was employed in as an LMT and was arrested. These things will follow you guys, and you saw how easy it was for me to pull this up. I know his name, I know his license number, I know exactly what he did wrong. Don't break the rules, guys, because your failures are right out there in public. So that's a fun activity to do in a class of brand new little baby massage therapists. Scare the heck out of them. It works. Trust me, it works. All right. Board, all about the board. Board members, minutes, agendas, notices, the board members. I'll tell you guys what I tell all my students: a long and successful massage career, you will never know who sits on the board of massage. It will never apply to you. No one ever gets called before the board of massage for doing such a great job because you're just a great citizen. No. Being called before the board of massage is like being called in front of a judge. It happens to you because you screwed up. If you have a long, successful, perfect massage career, you will never have any idea who is sitting on the board of massage. It just doesn't apply to you. You could look it up for sure. But if you get called before the board, I recommend you hire an attorney because someone's after your job or your license. And you would not go in front of a judge without a lawyer, right? We all agree that's a really dumb idea. You need a lawyer who is versed in licensure law. That is the discipline. You find yourself a lawyer if you go before the board. Do not play around with your license. You spent way too much time and money trying to get it. It can be taken away like that. All right, current board discipline. So disciplinary enforcements and actions. If you want to know what they're doing to enforce the rules, information is there. And if you want to file a complaint, the link is right there on their website. Laws, rules, and policies, frequently asked questions. If you generally have a question, I would start with the FAQ. If you want information about the massage and bodywork licensing exam, here you can find the link for the borderline. This is the summary version, if you will. So when we click on borderline, it will take you to a history of their editions. So they publish twice a year. We'll start with the fall edition. And this is the one that I was reading on. They're adding language for any instance of a state of emergency declared to trigger the reduction of continuing ed hours. So you can just kind of see a summary of the major things that they're talking about. Now,
So the
the next link is
borderline is just, so borderline means that it's just the summary of the minutes.
yes, it's written in a much more reader-friendly fashion than meeting minutes. Yep. So here we see the Board of Massage website for Washington State. And you can see these websites are never very glamorous. All the basic information is on the sidebar: info for massage therapists, ed requirements, fees, frequently asked questions, laws, policy statement, Board of Massage, continuing education requirements during COVID-19 response. They have also reduced their continuing education requirement and will be effective through June of this year, unless the state of emergency is canceled. So just like the Oregon website, it's laid out a little differently, but it's all the same stuff. Basic information about what's going on, a way to navigate around. I would always start with the frequently asked questions if you have a question. All right. So we got a general sense of kind of what these websites look like. So I have a basic idea of where I'm going to look for information. I'm going to skip this one because I just don't feel like doing it. Moving on. So why even go through all this nonsense? Why are we paying board members who are not massage therapists to come up with rules that govern what we do in our treatment rooms with clients? Why? Who can tell me why? Well, a regulation works out better for clients. They actually get better outcomes in states where the industry is regulated than in states where it isn't. So if you want better client outcomes, it's best to have a basic set of rules that everyone agrees to follow. It protects the general public through negligent or dangerous practices. And again, it makes sure that the therapists have better working conditions. It ensures that people can be held accountable, right? Just like we saw, that guy watched someone get undressed and he lost his license for it. So he will never massage again for money. I mean, there's consequences to your actions. It also assures that all the therapists have met minimum qualification levels. Everyone holding themselves out as a massage therapist has some basic level of knowledge. Every state is left up to decide what that basic level of knowledge should be. Most states hold around 500 hours. As you guys know, Oregon requires a fair bit more than that. Other states require far more than that. The state of New York requires 1,000 hours of school.
I think
1,000 hours.
Canada is over 2,000.
It technically, yes, Canada is over 2,000. The reason is because it's in the United States, massage is a technical vocation. In Canada, it's a college career. Like you go to real college, just like nurses do. So that's what it takes longer, just because you've got math classes and science classes and all the other stuff that you have to get through college to get there. Yeah. But yeah, Canada takes it seriously. We are very much healthcare practitioners in Canada, right alongside nurses. Yep. Also, by regulating, you start to levy taxes, and that ensures we have enough tax revenue to keep the system going. Remember, the point of government is not to make a profit. The point of government is to secure enough funds to ensure its own continued existence. So what are the cons? What's the downside? Because yeah, there are downsides to being regulated. First and foremost, it costs money. And that's going to eat into your profit margin. That's going to increase the cost of your education. That's going to increase the barrier for entry into the field, because now there's more financial hoops I have to jump through. I not only have to pay for school, but I also have to pay for the NBLEX exam. I also have to pay an application fee to get my license. And then I have to pay for continuing education classes to then pay to renew my license every 2 years. It's a money sink, right? You just, all these things costing you money every few months. You got to pay something else just to keep your career going. It also means when there's a room full of people making the rules, now they are subject to lobbying activities. So now someone's waiting in the lobby to talk to those lawmakers and then to get exactly what they want. But remember, guys, lobbying is not inherently a good or a bad thing. Massage associations lobby to get our interests represented. Absolutely. So if you think the AMTA and the ABNP don't also have lobbyists sitting in the lobby, they do. They do. Just like the big pharmaceutical companies and the big medical companies and fossil fuels, big massage also has their little agents there trying to make sure our interests are represented. When you break a rule, they will impose penalties, and those penalties can be a little arbitrary. You know what I mean? It's the board of massage that set those fines. So whatever they decide is what the penalty is. And it is what it is. You can't appeal the setting of a fee or a fine. So it is what it is. So there is a little bit of discretion, a little bit of, it's a little bit arbitrary what they decide to set the fees as. It's also time consuming. 25 hours of your life every 2 years, you've got to dedicate to sitting in a classroom. Again, after massage school, you got to come back to school and sit there for 25 hours every 2 years just to renew your license. And school, you guys are giving up 625 hours of your lives to sit through school to then qualify to sit for 2 hours for a state licensing test. It's time consuming. Yeah. And if you think about like states like Nebraska, who do not regulate massage, like literally any old Uncle Cletus can just stick a shingle out in his front yard, $5 massages. And he's just sitting there chopping away in his lawn chair. But is that the field that we want to work in? You know what I mean? And this isn't a right or wrong, guys. This is an opinion question. You know what I'm saying? There is no correct answer. As always, when regulations are involved, small businesses are the ones that bear the brunt of it. Huge corporations with these millions of dollars in profits every year, they can afford a little extra money. But a mom and pop shop who just got to the point where they can hire their second massage therapist, and now new regulations come into play that cost them $1,000 a year, they may not be able to afford that. Small businesses will almost always bear the brunt of more regulations. It's just, it's going to affect their profit margin and their bottom line far more significantly than it would a major business. And then again, guys, remember who is sitting on the board of massage, right? These aren't gods. They're not demigods. These are human beings, right? They wear tighty whities. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They are just human beings like you and me. Sometimes they make mistakes. Sometimes they make bad rules. And when bad rules get made, sometimes it can do more harm than good. Sometimes regulations are written in a way that it unintentionally impacts one group more than another. Sometimes it's intentional, right? Let's be clear. Sometimes it's done on purpose, but sometimes it's genuinely not. And now you have an issue where you have to make a correction. So there's two sides to this coin. There are positives to being regulated, right? We ensure public safety. We make sure everyone who calls themselves a massage therapist has a basic level of education. They have a basic idea of what's going on in the body, in the field, with tissue manipulation. It works out better for the clients. And by all of us agreeing to be held to the same standards of accountability, then it improves our profession overall. It lends legitimacy to our industry when we elect to be regulated. On the other hand, that regulation costs. It ain't free and it ain't cheap. It costs a lot of money. It takes up a lot of your time. And the fact of being regulated means you are letting human beings into the process of making rules. Those human beings are fallible and can be influenced by lobbies. Those human beings can make flawed rules that can do more harm than good. And almost any time you make rules, it's going to affect the little guy more than it's going to affect the big guy. Good stuff so far. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Real quick, there was a few people that were late. I'm just wanting to run through. Awesome. Everybody's here. Got everybody marked present. All right. So if you guys saw the old Schoolhouse Rock with the "I'm just a bill," I feel like they did this in song form, and they made it much easier to understand than this. But we're going to try to follow along here. First things first, it is not on the final exam. It is not a part of this class that we understand the details of this process. I'm not quizzing you on like, what was step number 4 of this process? That's not what we're here for. What I do want to do is show you how much deliberation goes into the process before a law is actually signed. Laws do not just get thought up by a legislator over breakfast and they're signed into law by dinner time. That's a charming idea, but no, that's not in fact how it works. The process of getting a law passed can take decades. When Congress decides to move quickly, when Congress moves quickly, you're usually talking in the matter of several weeks, like weeks before something has happened. And if something happens in a matter of weeks, it's like, whoosh, it just blew through here. So we generally start here. Some idea, whether from the public or a legislator, brings some idea. And then usually they have their staff, their little unpaid interns, actually sit down and write out the thing. So then the bill is introduced, it's read for the very first time, either in the House or in the Senate. So the Speaker or the President of the Senate assigns the bill to a committee, and then no, it's not passed yet. Now it goes to a group of people, and then they get to go back and forth and tweak and change and reorganize. And well, should it include something about rainbows? I think we should do something about rainbows. They will go back and forth. Sometimes the bill dies right there. Sometimes they simply can't come to an agreement. Pardon me. It's a hard job, guys. You don't understand. It's so dry. Okay. Sometimes the bill dies here in committee. They just can't make it through their differences and it does not go along. Sometimes they get to a point where they agree, but they can't actually pass it. Assuming that it does actually make it through that first round, it goes back for a second reading and a third reading, and it can still fail at this point. If it does pass, then it gets sent to the second chamber. So it gets sent to the Senate or the House, and it goes back through the whole thing. It's sent to another committee, and they get to sit in a room, and they all get to go back and forth on it. And sometimes it dies, but sometimes it survives. If it passes one house and it passes the other, then it goes to a conference committee. So now both sides get to sit in a room and go back and forth on it. You see where we're going with this, guys? This is not a quick or easy process. You've got a lot of legislators who want to have their moment of grandstanding on, CPAC. They want to have their 5 minutes of asking like the snappy questions. Ultimately, if both houses can agree and they both sign the bill in the same form, then it goes to the governor. The governor can either sign it, it becomes a law. He can not sign it, but it still becomes a law. It just doesn't become a law with his endorsement, and that's politically that can be important. Or he could veto it. But if he vetoes it, it goes back to the Congress, and with 2/3 majority, they can approve it without him. So still several ways that it could become a law, even if the governor is not on board. All right. Again, the ins and outs of this process are not the focus of our class. I just want us to have a general understanding of the complexity of this process. Nothing happens in government overnight. So who's on your side? When it comes time for massage laws to be revised, who do you need to write a letter to? Do you know? Because if you don't, you really should. So what I would like for all of you guys to do real quick, open a side tab in your browser. You guys are going to do a little side research project real quick. Click on this link if you can. If you can't, I'm going to give you plenty of time. Type this into your browser, oregonlegislature.gov/find-your legislator/leg-districts.html. I really hope you guys can click the link. That would make it so much easier. No, I tell you what, I will. Tell you what I'll do. This is the website. It'll look like this. Copy. Link is in the chat. Oh, I love technology. All right, so the link is in the Moodle chat. You should be able to click on that there, and it will take you to some website that looks like this. You're going to come up in here and you're going to type in your home address. Please do not share that with the rest of the class. Just type in your home address. You type in your home address, it's going to zoom in to your location, and it will give you a little pop-up window, and it will not only tell you who all your state representatives are, but also who your federal representative is. So I want you to find out and make a note, maybe write this down. Find out who your state senator is. So this is your Oregon senator, not the one that goes to Washington, D.C. We're talking about the senator that goes to Salem. State senator, what's his party affiliation? And what district number are you in? I would like for you to find the same information for your state representative. So the one that goes to the Oregon State House of Representatives, their party affiliation and your district number. You also have a Sorry, go ahead.
David, is that Senate, House, or Congress here? So Senate.
So you have a state Senate, you have the state House, and then Congress is going to be U.S. Congress. That's the representatives, the House of Representatives person that represents Oregon in D.C.
Can you just say one more time what you want us to be looking at?
Yes. So when you type in your address and click Find Who Represents Me, and I'll just type in my street address, and this is what mine looks like. So Senate, this is the state Senate. This is your senator that goes to Salem. Mine is Chris Gorsuch, Democratic District 25. Now, the representative that goes to the House in Salem. Mine is Zach Hudson. He's a Democrat, District 49. My congressional representative is Earl Blumenauer. He is the one that goes to Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives representing my district. So if you want some context, he's our AOC. He is the one that goes to the House to represent us. Well, me here in Congressional District 3. You probably live somewhere else. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's really what I'm wanting you to find. The name, the party, and the district number for all three of those tabs. And the reason is because that is the person who directly represents you. So when you fill out your ballot, that's the dude you're voting for, right? You're not voting for the dude in some other district. So what I want you guys to understand is this is the name of the person you write your angry letter to. That's the name of the person you make your letters when he does something that you really like, right? He blocked some oil pipeline. Yay, dude. He allowed a major corporation to move into a quaint downtown area. Boo, dude. Send them letters. It works. I know it feels like a grandparent's thing to say, like, you should write them a letter, but it seriously makes a difference when they start getting letters. Phone calls make a difference. Emails make a difference. No, the person himself doesn't see it, but his staffers do, and they have to reply to all of them. And so he gets regular updates about who's sending letters and how many letters and what are those letters about. So it absolutely makes a difference. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I hope everybody has coffee. Man, I told you this stuff is bone dry. All right. We'll go for just a little bit longer and then we'll take a quick break. All right. So the major material for what we are covering comes in two major handouts. They should all be in the note packet. It is the ORS and the OAR. The ORS, or the Oregon Revised Statutes, that is the law itself. That is what the legislature wrote about massage. It is very general. They are not laying out super specific rules. They are laying out broad categories, basically saying, hey, massage therapists, y'all need to regulate yourselves like this. And they put out a framework. The OAR, which is the Oregon Administrative Rules, these are rules, not laws. Laws are at the top, rules come below. The rules, like the rules that the board sets for themselves, right? Like we have to meet here, except in an emergency, and then we can meet via Zoom over there. The rules that the board issues carry the weight of law, so you can be prosecuted for breaking the rules. So essentially, the ORS will broadly lay out what is required. The OAR interpret the law, and then they lay out specifically how that law is going to be implemented. Okay. To put it another way, the law book says, hey, you got to do this thing, right? You got to regulate massage. You need to come up with a board and you need to set educational requirements. And then the OAR is the board saying, cool, so here's how we're going to do that. 7 people on the board, 640 hours of education in Oregon, boom, 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 pass them. This is how we're going to do it. So when you look at the writing in the ORS, you'll see it's very top level stuff. It's very much like you need to have a board of massage. You need to regulate these kinds of things. You need to have rules in place that govern these big concepts. The OAR is going to be much more specific, much more detailed. That's going to be the one that tells you your clean sheets need to be 4 inches off the floor. Your dirty sheets need to be in a covered container, and you need to have a massage license if you're going to call yourself a massage therapist. And this is what counts as massage. And this is what does not count as massage. Do you see where we're going with this? The ORS is going to be very technical. It's written by legislators. The OAR is written by the board, and the board is comprised mostly of massage therapists. All right, how about we take a quick break before we jump into this, because we're going to be in that for a minute. Let's take a quick little potty break. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Let's re-coffee ourselves. All right, 10 minutes, you guys. I'll see you back here. All right, we should all be back. Welcome back to class. Okay. So as we were saying before break, the ORS, the revised statutes, is the law. It's going to be very general. Below that is the administrative rules. Those are below that. They do carry the weight of law. These are going to be much more specific. So we're going to start with the revised statutes. We're going to start with the law. And it's everything that the state of Oregon has to say about the practice of massage is going to be found in chapter 687. So you ever seen those law commercials with the lawyers and they've got the shelves of identical books behind them? Those are the law books. And every year they publish, the volume of them. So within that entire volume, chapter 687 is the chapter that deals with massage. Rest assured, every other profession and industry and banking regulation, all that stuff, they all have their own chapter. So within chapter 687, you have various sections. That's what follows the decimal point. So the first section is section 011. Those are the definitions. Definitions are always going to come first in the law because before we start talking about rules, let's make sure we're clear on the terms. So this will be where the state of Oregon says, what do we mean when we say massage? What is massage? What counts? What do we mean when we define a massage facility? What do we mean when we say professional relationship? So the entire first section is just a long list of definitions that we're going to use as the basis for the laws that we are about to enact. The next section is all about getting into the profession. So licensure. The next section deals with what are the minimum requirements to get a licensure, who gets one, who doesn't get one, all that stuff. Section 059. So now that you're licensed, where do you go? You go to work. So this is the section that regulates massage facilities. This will be the one that says things like massage facilities have to have a certain amount of space. They got to have a bathroom. They have running water, things like that. So cool, you've got a license, you're working in a regulated facility. How do you stay in the profession? The next section is all going to be about renewing your license. The things that the state says you need to renew your license. Now the state will say something like, you need at least 12 hours of continuing education, period. That's all the state says, minimum 12 hours of continuing ed. The board comes behind them and says, actually, we're going to require 25 and we're going to do that every 2 years. So the law is going to be very broad. Then the rules come behind and give more specifics. Section 095, when do you need a tattle? When do you got to tell on somebody? We have a duty to report any other licensed healthcare professional who is not following the rules or the regulations or isn't behaving according to the ethical principles that we all agree to uphold. It's not just like, oh, should I be a tattletale and tell on them? You have a duty to report it. It's your job, literally. There's penalties if you don't. Section 115. So who's the boss of you? The boss of us is going to be the Board of Massage. This section lays out all the rules for the Board of Massage themselves. So how many, when do they meet, major things. The next section are the rules that the board has to follow. And then section 122 talks about breaking the law. Come on, Judas Priest fans, nobody? We're breaking the law. This lays out the process for investigating complaints, enforcement of rules, and penalties for breaking the rules. So that's the very basic idea. If you look at it from the beginning, the law makes a lot of sense, right? We start with definitions, getting a license, getting a job, renewing the license, when to tattle on your coworkers, how the board is formed, how the board is regulated, and then what the board has the power to do, namely investigate, enforce, and impose penalties. Good stuff. Broad sections here, guys. All right, so exercise. Pull up your handouts, maybe in another tab. If you have them on paper, start flipping through them. I want you to find in the Oregon Revised Statutes the rule located, Chapter 687, Section 21, subsection 1, paragraph B.
This is in the note packet?
Did you guys not get the revised statutes in the note packet? Was that not in there?
Yeah, I don't have that.
One could also find the law at the Oregon Board of Massage website. Board of Massage website. We're gonna go home first. Go to the home page. That usually helps. We can scroll down to the bottom. Oops, not that far to the bottom. Under resources, laws, rules, and policies. The most recent one was the Oregon Revised Statutes 2015. And oh my gosh, just like I said, section 011 definitions, 2.1 practicing massage without a license. So here we can start searching for the revised statutes. This is the law. And now be careful because the one right below it, the Oregon Administrative Rules, those are the OAR. Those are different. Look, even the numbers are different. 334001. That's not what we're looking at. So in here, this is what we're looking for. 687.021.1.b. First one to find it, start reading it out loud. Don't be shy. When you find it, start reading it out loud. .021.1.b.
I typed that in and it says no matching records are found.
687.021.
Yeah, the same thing popped up when I typed it in.
I think
There's
I
a
found it.
1. There's a
There's
1,
a-
but not a B.
Is it the one that says operate a massage facility or purport to operate a massage facility without a permit issued?
Yes. So here's the actual law. What you're looking at on the screen, that is the raw law, like black and white. There it is. Look, we got 687.021. The topic, practice of massage without a license, prohibited. Operation of a massage facility without a permit, prohibited. Injunction against violation. So that means like there's a penalty if you violate it. Then there's a 1. That's telling you that's section 1. A person may not, A, engage in or purport to engage in the practice of massage without a massage therapist license issued by the State Board of Massage Therapists under ORS 687.051. So what they're saying is you cannot be a massage therapist or call yourself a massage therapist if you do not have a license issued by the Board of Massage. So no one else can issue you a massage license besides them. They have the power to do this according to 687.051. That's what I mean when I say the law is self-referential.
David, where did you find the specific page that you're looking at? Because all I see is...
It's below. You got to scroll down further.
Yeah. When you click on it, it may start.
Yeah, okay, that's what I see.
Yeah, you got to scroll down.
Oh, it's all, okay. It's
Yeah. So there's your table of contents, basically. And then you scroll down a little more. And there's the beginning of your first chapter, right? There's the definitions. So now the definitions begin. This is what board means. This is what certified class means. This is massage facility, all these things. Next, we have 687.020, but this one was repealed. 020 was repealed. So next we move down to 021, practice of massage without a license. And section B says a
Alright, so
person may
one more
not.
question.
Yeah.
So 020 repealed means that it used to be a law, but it was canceled.
Correct. Yeah, this is what they mean when they say they struck it from the law book. They repealed it. It's gone. So now, if you were to dig through older law books, you could find what the rule was, but you would understand that rule doesn't apply anymore, right? You know you're looking up an old rule. So yeah, when they repeal it, they just strike it off. So 687.021, paragraph 1, section B. A person may not operate a massage facility or purport to operate a massage facility without a permit issued by the board, as they have the power to do under ORS 687.059, unless the person is an individual massage therapist who is working out of the individual's home. So now my question. What is this rule saying?
Basically, that you need an additional permit on top of your license to have your own business.
It sounds as if it's saying that you need a permit if you want to operate a massage business that is not located in your home.
That is exactly correct. If you want to operate a massage business like your own little studio, or if you want to open a Massage Envy, you have to have a massage permit for the business. It's the facility, guys. It's the building and the running water, and you've got heat going to it, and there's carpet, and you've got tables that are in good repair, right? So you need a massage license for you to touch the client. You need a second permit for the building, the facility that you're doing all this stuff in, unless you are operating out of your own home. You do not need to get a permit if you're operating in your house. You would also not need a permit if you're going to the client's house, because if you are going to the client's house, then you do not have a facility. Make sense?
And that last part is implied.
Yes, because it's not implied. The rule says a facility where you are offering massage. If you are going to the client's home, that is not your facility. That is the client's home. So that's not what the rule says. So you can't add meaning onto the words, like add complications onto the rule. The rule did not say anything about going to a client's house. Therefore, if you are going to a client's house, the facility rule does not apply to you. Good stuff. Awesome. All right. Next step. So we understand what the rule is saying, and we understand that unless case. So I know I need a permit unless I'm working out of my own home. Now, I want you to check the rule located at 687.059, paragraph 1, and there's going to be 5 subsections, A through E. We're going to read all of those. 059. First one to find it, just start reading it out loud.
Which letter?
A through E.
So this is massage facilities, fees and rules. To be issued a permit to operate a massage facility in the state, an applicant must A, submit an application to the State Board of Massage Therapists in a form and manner prescribed by the board by rule. B, comply with the health, safety, and infection control requirements adopted by the board under ORS 687.1.121. Pay the fee required under 687.071. If the applicant is a natural person, they must be at least 18 years of age. If the applicant is not a natural person, comport with the laws of the state related to business formation, including making an appropriate filing with the Secretary of State. That's it, right? 1 through E or A through E?
Yep. Nope, that was it.
Natural
What
person.
what do they
Yeah,
mean by natural?
what the hell?
Is that just someone that was
good
born in
catch.
the state?
Nope, that is not what it means.
Is it? No.
I'm a
Are we talking about
confused.
like androids here?
No. Are you guys ready? Like, hold on, keep your brains inside your head. They're talking about corporations. Corporations are artificial persons.
Oh.
Why don't they just
Humans
say that
are
instead?
natural persons. What they mean is, for legal purposes, guys, here, big cloud, legal purposes, not real life. I'm talking about on legal paper. Corporations are people. So McDonald's is a person, meaning McDonald's can sign a contract. McDonald's can own property and assets and hold real estate, right? The stocks on the stock market belong to McDonald's, not any one individual person, but the entity known as McDonald's. Corporate personhood is a legal principle which allows corporations to own property and sign contracts and things like that. So when we talk about persons, we have to distinguish, are we talking about natural persons or are we talking about artificial persons? And what they're saying is a corporation could be brand new and start doing this, but a natural person has to be 18. So good question, guys. I'm glad you guys picked up on that. That's a really cool concept. Not much to do with us in massage, but legally speaking, corporate personhood is like a hot button issue. Do you guys remember back in a couple election cycles ago, Mitt Romney got a lot of egg on his face for saying like corporations are people, my friend. That's what he was technically correct. I mean, he was right. Corporations are people, but there's a lot more to the story than that, but it was in the headlines. That's one of the things, if this is interesting to you, look into it. Corporate personhood is a fascinating topic. Moving right along. All right, so we read this rule. Let's digest this just a little bit. To be issued a permit to operate a massage facility in the state of Oregon, if you want to own a massage business, a location, submit an application to the board in a form and manner prescribed by the board. So they will give you the application. No other application will suffice. You can't just write it down on a piece of paper and mail it to them. You have to fill out their application. Comply with health, safety, infection control requirements. How are they going to know? How are they going to know if you're following the health and safety requirements? How would you do it?
Well, the county health would have to come in, wouldn't they? And
Yes.
clear
and
it.
What is that called?
I forget.
An inspection
Starts with an
of some
I.
kind?
Rhymes with binspection. They do an inspection. They will show up at your door and they walk into your business and they take a look around and they open up your cabinets and they look under your sinks and they look under the massage table and they make sure that your place is healthy and safe and clean. And you've got a place to do your laundry and all your basics are covered. A human being uses their eyeballs to look at your stuff and says, yep, or they say, no. You got to pay the fee because of course there's a fee. Welcome to the government. There's always a fee. If the applicant is a natural person, go ahead, sorry.
I had a question. So what if you are leasing a place and you have your own business, but you're under like, someone else's room?
If that is the location that you are practicing in, you are the responsible party for making sure that it's up to spec. So that would not be, certain things would be your responsibility, certain things would be the landlord. But generally speaking, it's on you. The landlord would be responsible for things related to the building, like fire extinguishers, running water, things like that. But you would still be like, if there's not a laundry site on premises, you're responsible for showing the inspector how you are going to deal with your dirty laundry. Whether that you show them a contract that you've signed with a laundry company, you can show them a thing. You say, I'm going to take it home and wash it, and bring it back. But you got to justify to them what you're going to do with your dirty sheets.
I guess what what I meant was like if you're working for a chiropractic place, you're not working for them, but you're renting one of their rooms, would you still need a permit to
No.
run your business out of their room?
Usually no. Usually it would be the chiropractor that has to keep that. Yeah, but a
Okay.
big deal. It's a big deal. The difference whether you're their employee or whether you're an independent contractor, because if you're their employee, that is solidly their responsibility. But if you're an independent contractor, you might have to get your own permit. It depends. But
Okay.
think about it this way. It doesn't matter how many people are renting out the same room. The room only needs one permit. So if you own the room and you have 10 different therapists all scheduling their time in this one room, the room only needs one permit. All 10 people do not have to have an inspector come out and look at the same room 10 different times. That's usually it's going to be on the landlord or it's going to be on the boss or something like, well, not a landlord, but the permit is usually going to be your responsibility, usually. The permit is going to be your responsibility if you're renting the room, usually. Sorry, I wanted to be very clear. If you are an employee, it is not your responsibility. Good stuff. So if you get hired at Massage Envy, you do not pay for Massage Envy's license inspection permit. No, Massage Envy covers that. Next up.
All right.
If the applicant is a natural person, so if you're a human being, you got to be at least 18. You have to be at least 18 years old to own a massage business. If the applicant is not a natural person, you have to be in compliance with the laws of this state related to business formation. So if you're a corporation, you have to have been legitimately formed in the state of Oregon and file with the Secretary of State.
So quick question.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know at what point you become a business and not a natural person? Like if it's just you and one other person using like the same business name to rent out a few spaces, are you then a business or is there more involved?
So the way it is when you're a small business, you are basically operating as yourself, right? So you go out there with your massage license and you're doing massage and you say, my name is Kim Pateski, LMT. That's you. Now, you could work under a name, right? A business name, like I am Liquid Limbs Massage, but that is a DBA. That is a doing business as. It is Kim Pateski doing business as Liquid Limbs Massage, right? So when you file taxes, you're filing taxes under your social security number. The business is you and you are the business. It's the same thing. So when the business makes money, you make money. When the business loses money, you lost money. Once you cross the line into being an artificial person, it doesn't happen by accident. You file lots and lots of paperwork and pay lawyers to incorporate. You form a corporation. That is the artificial person. And the whole point of this is now the corporation, imagine you've set up this fake person, right? This artificial person. Now, the business owns assets. Like the business owns the massage table. The business owns the company car. The business owns the building that I'm paying the mortgage on. If the business loses money, you do not lose money. The business lost money. But also, when the business makes money, you did not make money. The business made money. Make sense? The real benefit to this, the real benefit here, if someone sues the business, they sue the business. They do not get access to your assets. So if a client sues your company, they can only go after the company and its assets, what money is in its bank accounts, whatever assets it holds. Your house, car, laptop, retirement savings, college savings fund, all of your stuff is safe. It's called the veil of separation. That's why we do corporations. You don't just trip and fall into becoming an artificial person. You file lots of paperwork and hire lawyers to file a declaration of incorporation with the state, a charter. You have to write a charter. It's a big deal. It doesn't happen by accident. You intentionally set out to create a corporation for your business. Yeah. So when you are sole proprietor, you file taxes for the business under your social security number. If it's a partnership, you file taxes under both partners' social security numbers. The next step up is an LLC. With an LLC, you'll get an employee, the business gets a tax number. It's called an EIN number. You fill it out when you do your W-2s, right? Your company that you get your W-2 from has an EIN number. That's the business's social security number, basically. That protects your social security number from going on your employees' W-2s, because otherwise all your employees straight up get your social security number. So you form an LLC, now your business gets an EIN, and that's the number that goes out. Same thing with a corporation, but corporations get more protection, but they also get taxed more. For most people, an LLC is fine. That's not for this class. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother class. Back to our point here. Back to our point here. We've just read the law. This is what Oregon has to say about owning a massage business. Do we understand what the state of Oregon just said? It laid out very clear rules. What you got to do. You got to fill out the application, pay a fee, be 18, blah, blah, blah. So here's my question. Are you seriously not swiping? There we go. Do I have to be a massage therapist to own a massage establishment? Colby says no.
Well, no, because if you don't have to be anything specific to own a corporation.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. When you have a legal question and you turn to the law, I know it's not exciting, but when you look at the law, we just saw this. Did that law say anything about having to hold a massage license? Nope. So you don't. So you don't. Don't add complications on top of it. Don't add complexity to it. The law is pretty black and white. If it didn't say you have to do the thing, you don't have to do the thing. Here's another little principle to follow. Everything is legal until it isn't. So if there isn't a law that says you can't do it, you could probably get away with doing it. You might be the reason they make a law, and that would be really cool. But you won't get in trouble for doing something if it's not against the law. Make sense? Generally speaking, guys, laws are written after the fact, right? So you do something and it's like, whoa, you made a whole bunch of money. That should be illegal. Then they write a law about it. And now no one else can do it. But you got away with it because it wasn't illegal. Everything is legal until it isn't. There's got to be a law specifically saying you can't do that thing. So if it's not in the rule book, it's not a rule. A person does not have to be a massage therapist to own a massage establishment because the rule didn't say nothing about it. Anyone can be a business person. Anyone can start a massage envy and then they just hire massage therapists. Good stuff? Good stuff? All right. All right. New research question. Can you find the rule that defines scope of practice for LMT? I'm going to give you a hint. The phrase scope of practice is not mentioned, so you're going to have to hunt around for it. This might be a little bit open to your interpretation, but I want you to do your best. Can you find the rule that would define our scope of practice? I'm going to give you guys a few minutes on this one because you might want to hunt around.
We're looking for this in the thing that you showed us, right?
Yes. Actually, you can find One could find an acceptable answer in both statutes, either in the statutes or in the rules. So whichever one you find, there will be a good answer in both of them. And so when you're hunting for your answers, guys, try to keep in mind, what does scope of practice mean? Scope of practice is the things we're allowed to do as massage therapists. So for a massage therapist, it's not going to say something like you're allowed to walk down the street, because everyone's allowed to walk down the street. What we're looking for is, what am I allowed to do as a massage therapist? What sets that detail apart? What is it that I'm allowed to do with this license that I can't do without the license? Take a few minutes.
Is it the 0.011? Because that has a lot of definitions, but
So what would, so if that was the answer, what would you think would be, what do you think would be the best definition of scope of practice for us?
a lot. There are a lot of
I see one that says a licensed massage therapist must not perform or offer to perform any services for clients other than those connected with giving massage therapy treatments as defined in ORS 687, unless the LMT has additional training or licensure.
Oh my God, man, you nailed it. There's one other component to it. You got one of two.
where did you find that
Nailed
one?
it.
It is under chapter 334, division 10.
Okay, I'll offer you one more hint, guys. I don't want us to overthink when we're thinking about scope of practice. What are we really defining here? We're defining what a massage therapist does. What does a massage therapist do but massage? So we're looking for the definition of
You have to practice within what you've learned.
That's definitely
Treatment.
part of it. Definitely part of it.
I did just find a section on like grounds for denial and like suspension of your license, and it goes over like a whole bunch of things that like could get your license taken away. So I suppose that would all be outside of scope of practice, but that doesn't quite feel right.
Not necessarily, no, because you can get your license taken away for a lot of reasons that don't have anything to do with what a massage therapist does. So while the phrase,
Well, I
scope
found
of
another
practice-
one.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Also, I think this is also the 33410 practice of massage. Massage treatment may include, but is not limited to, client intake and assessment, practice of massage or body work, post-massage assessment and recommendation, and documentation. And the list keeps going on here.
That's it. That's it. So what is the rule doing? It's laying out exactly what massage therapists do as a massage therapist. We do client intake, right? Yes, we do massage, meaning the manipulation of soft tissue, but that's not all. We also are able to conduct consultations. We're able to conduct intake and exit interviews. We're able to formulate treatment plans. Yes, right? And then think about what Holly added. There are also some things that we are not allowed to do. Can anyone find a citation for something that is explicitly stated not counts as massage? Is there anything that is explicitly stated that does not count as massage or is specifically excluded from the practice of massage?
Making a medical diagnosis.
Making a medical diagnosis. It's right there in the law. What else?
Prostitution.
Prostitution.
Which law are you guys looking at? I'm behind.
I have no idea where we're looking right now.
I'm behind too. I just knew that was one that we couldn't do.
Are we in ORS now instead of OAR?
So just to clarify, just a point of clarification, you guys are supposed to be searching on your own. So as a class, we aren't anywhere. You guys are supposed to be looking for answers on your own in the rules. But in the ORS, in the law, we do have the definition of massage right here. Massage or massage therapy or body work is defined as the use of pressure, friction, stroking, tapping, or kneading on the human body, or the use of vibration or stretching on the human body by a manual or mechanical means, with or without appliances such as vibrators, infrared heat, sun lamps, or external baths, and with or without lubricants such as salts, powders, liquids, or creams for the purpose of, but not limited to, maintaining good health and establishing and maintaining good physical condition. So, what can massage therapists do? I can use pressure, friction, stroking, tapping, kneading on the human body. I can also use vibration. I can also do stretching of the human body, either manually, like assisted stretching, or through mechanical means. So I can wrap a towel around them and pull, right? I can use some kind of implement to help with my stretching. With or without appliances such as vibrators, so I can use vibration machines. I can use infrared heat. I can use sun lamps. I can use external baths, like wiping them down, like hydrotherapy. With or without lubricants, such as salts, powders, liquids, or creams, for the purpose of maintaining good health and establishing good physical condition. Massage, massage therapy, or body work does not include the use of high velocity, short amplitude, manipulative thrusting procedures to the articulations of the spine or the extremities. What is that clearly saying we do not do?
Be a chiropractor.
We cannot act as a chiropractor. We don't crack backs. You cannot try to crack a back. Now, if you're doing a normal massage stroke, and as you slide your hands down their spine, you get a little snap, crackle, pop, that's okay. You didn't break the law. What this is saying is you can't say like, here, I'm going to crack your back, thwah, and then try to crack someone's back. That is outside your scope.
Thank you for doing that for me.
Yeah. Now we're going to look down at the OAR. Now we're looking down at the rules of the board. There's also we're going to look at definitions.
So now we've gone to 334.
Yes, now I'm in the OAR and I'm trying to find the one I'm looking for. It's in here somewhere. Three, 3, 4, 10, 25. Oh, 10, 25. Okay. Practice of massage. So even the Board of Massage made rules that said right here, massage treatment may include, so we are allowed to do client intake and assessment, practice of massage or bodywork, post-massage assessment and recommendation, and documentation. Massage treatment does not include the application of high velocity, low amplitude force, further defined as thrust techniques directed toward joint surfaces. It does not include the use of equipment or devices that require a prescription, nor does it include making a medical diagnosis. So this is what we mean when we talk about scope of practice. Back to my original question. The original question was, can you find the rule that defines scope of practice? Well, that's what we did. But we did this by finding the definition of massage, the other activities like client assessment and documentation that are included, and by finding the exclusions, the exact things that it says we cannot do. Once we have defined what we can and can't do, we have by definition defined our scope of practice. Good stuff? So if we think about what that rule is telling us, right? And at first it's just a bunch of bullet points. It's saying do this, do this, do that, but really think this through. When it says we are allowed to massage with or without lubrication, this means that certain modalities are green lighted. Modalities like shiatsu, where we don't use lubrication, but also massage techniques like Swedish, where we do. This means that we're allowed to do assessments, whether postural or range of motion. We can also offer recommendations. I think Holly also hit on a really good one where it said you're allowed to do something as long as you, I think Holly said it. It says you're allowed to do something as long as you have the training for it. Yeah. So in my circumstances, I am a certified yoga instructor. And through that, I can recommend to my clients specific yoga poses that will help stretch target muscles. I can do that because I'm certified to teach yoga. I know what I'm talking about. If you are not certified to teach yoga, you cannot recommend specific yoga poses. You could recommend yoga, but not tell them, say, like, you need to do pigeon pose on the right side. If you are certified in some other thing, another common, at least in Florida, at least, I don't know about Oregon, but another common side licensure is hypnotherapy. A lot of people get certified to do hypnotherapy. And now when your client's on the table and you're doing body work to get them relaxed, you're talking to them in your hypno voice and you encourage deeper relaxation. And you're able to incorporate both the hypnotherapy and the body work in order to achieve better client outcomes, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I, Dave Holden, cannot use my famous hypnotherapist voice on clients because I'm not certified in hypnotherapy. So the scope of practice, the things you're allowed to do, once you got a new certification, now there's a new definition of what you're allowed to do. Make sense? My massage license lets me do one thing. My yoga certification lets me do something else. When you become a nurse, now you can do injection stuff. So now you got new scopes of practice. So it's linked to your education. Now, why do we need to explicitly list the things that are not counted as massage therapy, like diagnosis?
We just don't have the knowledge to be accurate, really.
Yeah. We don't have that kind of training, not in accurately diagnosing medical conditions. Especially think of all the conditions that they diagnose after running tests. Like they don't just look at you and say like, oh, that's malaria. Like, no, we're going to do a blood test to confirm. And then the blood test will say malaria. Right? We don't do any of that. We don't do any of that. I can do an assessment, right? My assessment is one shoulder's higher than the other. I can't say anything about what's going on underneath that skin. I can't tell you got arthritis. I can't tell you you got muscle cancer. I can't tell you nothing. All I can do is assess. Good stuff, fun stuff. I mean, well, maybe not the funnest, but all right. I think it's time for another break. I think we've earned it. Let's take 10. We'll go get, yeah, I need more coffee. Let's take 10.
Hey, Dave, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's COVID related. So I did pop positive on like Wednesday, and I've been trying to get a test to show to get a test to be negative to show up for class this week. I've not been able to get into a class, but at the place where I got a positive test, they said that I'm probably going to show positive for a while. You know, whether I'm having symptoms or not, or I'm over it. They said that if I go get a test, it's probably going to pop positive again. So what do I do?
It may. I mean, I would still get a test to try and be safe.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into. They book up quick. they've been booking up really fast. So, and today's Tuesday, so Wednesday I need it by tomorrow. But usually with calling in, they're pretty much booked in right away in the morning once I get a hold of them. So what should I do? I do have a home test left. I was gonna wait until kind of last second to use it, hopefully to make it negative. But
So rapid tests are acceptable. So if you're
okay,
using an
yeah.
at-home test, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. What I would say is, whatever your first in-person class is, you've got to submit those test results at least 24 hours ahead of time.
Yes.
So I hear what you're saying, like wait until the last minute. I would probably take it like the day before class. I would take it that morning so that I had it by noon and I could put those test results up.
What do I do in the event that it shows positive?
Call me and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Sounds good enough. Thank you, Dave.
Yep. All right, folks, we're back. So for this last part of class, we're basically going to do what we've just done, right? We kind of did this with my guidance. You guys are I'm going to put you guys in some breakaway groups. You're going to pair up, and each group is going to tackle a topic. So the topics are things like definitions, initial licensing, license renewal. I'm just reading what's right here. License renewal, license statuses, massage board, disciplinary actions. I'm going to put you guys in your breakout rooms so you can chat with each other, pull up another tab with the law in it. Maybe one searches the ORS, the other looks through the OAR. I just want you to pick out 5 or 10 important points. Don't sit there and read the whole thing to us. But like what we just did think about what we just did in our last slide, right? We thought about a topic. So then we went into the law with a question. We read what the law says, right? The cold hard facts, you got to do A, B, C, D, E. But then we thought about, what does this mean? So it's not just about listing requirements. It's about, okay, think about all the relevant topics, right? Balance with brevity, because when we come back, we're going to discuss what you found. And I don't want to just sit here and read the law. Just give us a really good summary, 5 or 10 major points that stick out to you. So I'm going to have to use all my Zoom skills here. How did I do breakout rooms? I'm trying.
And how will we know what our topic is once we're in the breakout room?
I'm going to pop in and give it to you. Yeah. Oh, I thought this was easy. Sorry guys, technical difficulty here. Ugh, I have to go to settings. Oh gosh. I'm sorry, this is taking me way longer than I thought. Okay, so if I'm gonna have to go to the help section to figure out how to turn on breakout rooms, it ain't gonna happen. So would anyone like to look up definitions? Volunteers for definitions.
Sure.
Who's that? Luke?
I will as well.
I will as well if you need another person.
Let's see. Next up is initial licensing.
I will.
I can.
Becca
Me too.
and David. Next, we have license renewal.
I can do that.
Kim
I can do that as well. Reggie.
and Reggie. All right, license statuses. How about Ida and Tilly?
Sounds good.
Awesome. The massage board. Holly, that's you. And disciplinary actions. Colby. Anyone else I'm missing? Rachel. All right, so Luke and Honore, you guys have definitions. Becca and David, you guys have initial licensure. Kim and Reggie, you're taking on licensure renewal. Ida and Tilly, you guys have license statuses. Holly, you've got the board of massage. Colby and Rachel, you guys have disciplinary actions. So just read through them. You're just wanting to kind of summarize them in 5 or 10 bullet points. Ida, what's the matter? I can't hear you, sweetheart.
I'm struggling. I don't know how to even get there. I found definitions finally while we were on break, but I'm way behind. I don't know what to do.
Okay, let's see. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you the host so you can share your screen. I'm going to talk you through so you're on the right spot. You okay, Ida?
Oh, I'm just a bit stressed. I'll be okay.
It's going to be okay. We're going to go to... So here's what we're going to do, Ida. We're going to go to the Board of Massage homepage, regular Oregon Board of Massage homepage.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. Over here under resources.
Oops, mine didn't have that. Oh, I guess I've got it on laws, rules, and policies.
That's it. Yep, laws, rules, and policies. We could click on that.
Okay.
All right, and that's going to take us down to a page that looks like this. So we've got the revised statutes, and then we have the administrative rules. Ida, you're looking at license statuses. So I would be looking through the rules. And if we look at the titles, right, these don't seem to apply. So we're going to click next. I'm going to go to the second page. Licensure, lapsed license. So maybe in there, that might be a good place. I'll keep scrolling through the pages just to read and see if there's a better one. Nope. So it looks like licensure is going to be the best one. So when I look under licensure, I'm scrolling around. So we're looking for license statuses. So that's what I'm hunting for. I didn't see it in here. So let's go back and try lapsed license. Nope, I didn't find it there either. So now what I can do is search for status. How about inactive? That's a status. No. All right, Ida, I feel your frustration. I feel your frustration. You're not alone.
Oh. That's probably not good, but
You know what, David? Maybe it's up here. That was, nope, that was the OAR. 687051 051 051 051 051. All right. So Ida, frustration, justified. Here's what I'm going to say for you. I'm going to go to the Oregon Board of Massage website. And I'm going to start like I'm doing a license lookup. So when I come down here, I'm going to do search licenses. And then we're looking for a massage therapist. Here we go, license status. So these are what we're looking at. This is what I was trying to get to. I was trying to find this in the rules. So active is a clear and active license. You are active out there massaging in the world. Deceased, pretty self-explanatory. But some of these are a little more tricky. That's what I wanted you to look into. This is where, in my mind, this is where I was going with this, was what do these statuses mean?
Okay.
So some of these are pretty self-explanatory, like deceased, that means the person died. But others, like lapsed, there is clear definition in the rule about what a lapsed license is and how you undo it. There's a clear definition for what inactive means and what you have to do to get your license out of inactive status. This is where I was going. That's what I was intending.
Okay. So I find that in the rules then?
Some of them you'll find in the rules. Some of them may not be listed there, but again, like it's not going to list a definition for deceased, but you know what deceased means, right? Surrendered. What do you think a surrendered license means? They got in trouble, and rather than taking the trouble, they just gave their license up.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. I'm not intending for this to be some stress-inducing thing. I just wanted you to, I meant to give you a topic and you read up on it and you come back and we're like, cool, so these are the license statuses you can have and this is what that means. And everyone would have their one. This probably would have worked better in a classroom.
I think it was just frustrating because I hadn't even, probably,
Trust me.
I hadn't even found, well, I barely found definitions while I was on break. So it was like,
Oh,
I was just overwhelmed.
oh. Definitions are always going to be right at the top. So we'll always start with like a table of contents. So you'll start, there it is right there. Your kind of like your section headings. And then we just keep scrolling down to definitions. And there they are. All the terms that they're defining. So board means the massage board. Certified class means a class that is approved by the board and is offered by blah, 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 blah. Those are all the rules. Manual means using the hands or the feet or any other part of your body in the practice of massage. Good stuff, guys. Oh,
Okay.
I hope this was a better idea than I'm thinking. I'm having second thoughts, guys.
We're getting figured out, but we don't know what we're doing, or at least I don't know what I'm doing.
Partially, that's a good thing. The best way to learn to swim is to get thrown in the river. So the best way to learn your way around a law book, jump into the book and find something. Certainly, guys, you can chat with each other using the chat feature. And there's a way you guys can like buddy up and communicate.
David, do you mind telling me who my partner is again?
Rachel, your partner is Colby.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So while you guys are looking into this, Luke and Honore, you guys are doing definitions. We're just thinking about the terms that are defined. Think about why they bothered to define those terms in the first place. Becca, David, initial licensing. So think about all the elements that are needed to get your license for the first time. What are all the components in place? License renewal, Kim and Reggie. Describe everything you need to renew your license, including CE requirements, what are the fees, what are the deadlines. Holly with the massage board. Think about an overview of the board. What's their function? How many people are on the board? How many of them are LMTs? Who picks them? How often do they meet?
Dave, on the board or on the .gov for massage, it basically you have to put in your current LMT license number to get further down and to log in. Is there another way we can research that?
You don't need to log in. You shouldn't need to log in. You go to the Board of Massage website.
Yeah, I went
Scroll.
to renew license and then it just said put in your LMT license number.
Yes, because that is where you go to actually renew your license. What your
Okay.
license is, you look at the rules over it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is, yeah, that button over there is the one you click on when it's time to renew. So what's your license number? Did you do your continuing ed, pay the fee, like moving along to actually do the thing?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Colby and Rachel, you guys are doing disciplinary actions. So think about things like, what can the board do to you? What are all the possible disciplinary actions that they can take?
Yeah, excuse me. I only could find, and which one are we supposed to be looking under, the OAR or the ORS?
So looking at the disciplinary actions of the board, that's probably going to be in the administrative rules, the OARs.
Yeah, okay, that's the only one I could find anything about disciplinary. It's the spectrum of it. It sounds like they can do anything from like a warning to just taking your license. So I mean, it's not just a few, it's anything.
That's exactly right.
And
So let's talk about each one of those points.
okay. Let me find it again. I'm losing. They can deny, conditionally grant, restrict, suspend, revoke a license, impose probation, reprimand, censor. Like I said, there's a nice spectrum of different things they can do to you. Is there any one that you want to hear about in particular? I don't know.
Well, what I would like for you to do is to pick like a good 5 or so, and like what does that mean? So let's talk with the first one, a warning. What does a warning mean?
Stop doing what you're doing.
If the board sends you a warning, they write you a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the warning, the Board of Massage writes you a letter saying you better straighten up, and that's it. So they can also suspend your license. So for a period of time, you can't do massage. You don't have an active license. So I hope you have a really good manager who will let you pull some shifts at the front desk, because while your license is suspended, you cannot get paid for massage.
What's the difference between a suspended and a probation? I don't, is one of them they're going to kind of periodically check up on you to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? Okay.
Yep, there's a probationary period where you're given a chance to change, and then they inspect at the end, and you either changed and you're not on probation anymore, or you did not meet the qualifications and then they will take further action.
Okay.
But with a suspension, that's the action. They suspended your license.
Okay. What is censor? What is censoring?
Maybe your advertising isn't honest.
Okay.
And so they censor or tell you basically you can't write that. You
Okay.
can't advertise a $30 massage if no one ever actually no one ever actually gets a $30 massage. Somehow it's always bait and switched to be more, then you can't advertise a $30 massage, and that would be a censorship.
I see also it says impose remedial education. Does that mean they send you back to school or something? I don't know.
Or require you to get continuing education in something like boundaries and communication or ethics or Oregon law.
Gotcha. And then it just gives a whole bunch of pretty much that framework that you talk about in communications. It sounds like if you break any of those or bend any of those rules pretty hard, that's when they take action.
Rachel, did you find anything else interesting in the disciplinary section?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. It said that they could either take away your license or anything that Colby was saying, one of the actions, if you have a crime in any other state. If you were convicted of a crime in any other state. I don't know if that has to do with massage, like I don't know.
Yeah, so it's the board of massage writing this rule, so it absolutely has to do with massage. Think about, what if I flew home to Florida and committed some big crime and then flew back to Oregon? If I get convicted in Florida, do you think my Oregon license is going to be safe? No. If you get convicted of a crime in another state, you can absolutely be reprimanded professionally here. Now, when we say crime, we mean something made, right? We're talking about speeding. And the other key word there is convicted. You got to be found guilty. Just being charged anyone can be charged with anything. You got to be found guilty.
Gotcha, okay.
And you got to report it to the board. You got to self-report that stuff to the board.
It also says in it very specifically that basically don't ignore them. Like if they send you something, you got to respond to it.
Oh yeah, it's like the IRS, bro. They're not going to call you on the phone. They're going to send you a letter. Mm-hmm. You better reply to that letter. Luke and Honore, how about definitions? Do we have a few interesting definitions?
Sure. So Honore and I divided it up. I did the ORS and she did the OARs. So the ORS defines, they define a lot of things. Most of them we've kind of gone over. So it's just like what a board is, what is a certified class, what does manual mean, what's massage and massage therapy mean, massage facilities. I don't know, we've gone over a couple of those, but some other ones that I like that we hadn't gone over that I thought were interesting, like what's a preceptor? And a preceptor is just a board certified person who provides supervision to a student in a certified class. So generally over somebody like giving tests or things like that, coming in and giving that extra supervision. But it's useful, the why behind all of these things are useful for things like defining what manual means, right? So manual means using any part of your body as opposed to using a tool or using something else. So it doesn't just mean hand, in lots of context. Manual means relating to the hand, but it could be relating to any part of the body. So just making sure it's the nitty gritty of defining like what all these parts are as we get into very specific legal language, and all the other rules following it, so that it's like there's no gray area to it. When they say manual, it means any part of you, basically, instead of just hand. So
And that's important when you consider modalities like ashiatsu,
yeah,
where you massage with your feet,
Yeah.
right? You hold on to the bars and you massage with your feet. It's important that manual include the use of the feet so that those modalities are still classified as massage.
right. Or like in Thai massage, right, where you're like stretching somebody out using your shins or your feet or anything like that.
Exactly.
So it just kind of broadens the scope of what we get to do instead of like limiting it to like a very narrow idea of what massage is.
Excellent. Honore, did you find any interesting?
Kinda. I guess since definitions were like pretty self-explanatory, I didn't know exactly like what to choose, because I was kind of thinking that because I looked and it has like number 19, it describes personal relationships and professional relationships. It's so I think it more so like describe, or 19, sorry, dual relationships. That's what I was trying to say. I just wrote like little tiny notes. So I think it basically just, it like more so answers questions when people are like, huh, what's a dual relationship? And then you can just read on it and be like, oh, what's the difference between a personal relationship and, or not the difference, but it's like the same personal and professional relationship with one client.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at, it describes like number 3, it describes bartering, like the exchange, trade or exchange of massage. So I feel like for the, which one am I on again? The ORS. It just like describes basically like what people are like, huh, what's that?
Yeah. I think I remember at least one of you was probably in the class when I used the example of trading a massage for a haircut. But my massage takes an hour to do, and that haircut took 15 minutes, but they cost the same amount of money. So is that a fair trade?
Yeah.
I remember posing that one to the class, but that's the thing when we talk about barter, like what does that mean? Well, it's laid out right there: goods or services like haircuts, or tutoring or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. The other ones I was looking at, let me go back down. I thought was interesting was 23. It describes good moral character means. And then 33 describes professional fitness means. And they essentially say the same thing of like not doing prostitution, not being registered as a sex offender, like just being a good moral citizen, you know? And I thought it was interesting how they describe it like as a normal person aside from a professional person.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, you know, we normal people say like good moral character, you know, and like we all know what it means. But in the law, no, you can't just assume that they know what it means. You have got to define it and lay it out. So yeah, they'll talk about being convicted of a felony involving moral turpitude or prostitution. They'll talk about having ever had a massage license that got taken away from you in another state. They'll talk about things like being a sex offender or fraud or misrepresentation, like forging transcripts to get a massage license, right? Oh, I'll just create some fake transcripts and send them to the board. That's fraud. And you will lose your license real quick and in a hurry if they find anything was fraudulent.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to lay it out very specifically, like what kinds of things they're looking for. They're not looking for people that speed, right? They're not looking for people who miss their mortgage payment. They're looking for people who are, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Anything related to prostitution, anything related to sex crimes, anything related to children, child
Mhm.
trafficking, any of that stuff. Like that's where they're drawing the line.
Yeah.
Good job, you two. Initial licensing. What did you find? Becca, David, anything interesting?
Yeah. So I was looking at the ORS and let's see, at section like 687051, that like section A through F, it says all all the things really that are going to be required of us to turn in when we complete our application. So I can go back to it. It's like it like lists the classes that we're taking: anatomy and physiology, kinesiology, pathology. You have to be over 18. So if you were wondering what's going to be in the application, it's all just listed for you here. And it says you have to pass the examination, but so there's a lot there. Something I thought was interesting. I guess I didn't write down. Oh, it's in section 2. It talks about how they're going to find out if you are in good moral character, referring back to what Honoré was talking about. So you turn in references to the board as a part of your application. And that's how they'll investigate if you have good moral character. So I thought that was interesting.
Definitely.
And I took a look at the the similar one in 334 1015, and that also made specific of what other things, such as you have to send in your fingerprints and a CPR certification.
There's the CPR requirement right there.
I'm not
There's
quite sure how to turn in fingerprints though digitally.
So the way it's done is you actually go to the UPS store. Yeah, that's where it's done. Or any of the live scan locations. You go in, you tell the board you're going to do it, and the board of massage has a very unique ID number that they will give you. And you go to the live scan place. You can do this at a UPS store. They put your hand on the thing and they take your fingerprints. You give them that exact ID number for the board of massage, and they handle it for you. You pay like $100. You take your fingerprints, you give them that number, and they send your fingerprints to the board of massage. That's it. Any UPS store will do.
Simple, expensive, but simple.
Yes. Yes, it will cost you about $100. I think mine was like 85 or something like that. Yep. So if you want to know what you got to do to be a massage therapist, literally all spelled out right there. Up next, we have license renewal. Kim and Reggie, what do we got to do to renew a license?
So some of it is the same as like your first application for a license. Like you need the background check updated and the CPR certification and the references. There's also like a $200 renewal fee, I think I found hanging around somewhere. And then there's like updated documentation and like ORS and OAR policy agreements that you have to sign. And then I was looking at like CE requirements in the, where was I? It's the like 334-1050, I think it's under, and it just lays out like exactly what's required for the continuing education. So like you have to have 25 total. One has to be on a pain module. 15 of the hours must be contact hours in board approved activities, which they have a great big section that'll tell you what is board approved and what's not. 4 of the contact hours have to be ethics, communication, or boundaries training, and then the remaining can be non-contact. So, yeah.
What does that mean, non-contact?
I'm not exactly sure. I never really got around to looking that up. I thought that same question, but I don't know what the answer is.
So when they say certain classes must be contact, what they mean is in person. You have to go to a classroom with other human beings in the room with you, all breathing together, learning about a topic. Non-contact means any other kind of class. That could be an online class. That could be a correspondence class where they mail you a book, you read the book, you complete a test, you mail in the test. This could be pre-recorded lectures, like I bought DVDs and watched them and then took an online test and I got a certificate, like any of those kinds of classes. So contact means a live in-person class. Non-contact is any other kind of board approved education.
Cool.
I got pretty much everything she said.
Yeah, the tricky one is the finagling how many numbers of continuing ed hours you're gonna need. And remember, guys, because of COVID, license renewal requirements, a lot of those rules have been suspended. So those rules technically don't apply right this moment, but come June or July, the 25 is back in action. So right now to renew your license, you only need the 12 online hours and including the 4 in communication and ethics and all that stuff. So did you also hit the cultural competency requirement? Did you see that one as well?
No.
Every other renewal, 1 hour of continuing ed has to be a cultural competency.
Okay.
True story.
Yeah, and there's just like with continuing ed, it could be massage and body work, business practices, posture and movement assessments, kinesiology, pathology, A&P, body mechanics, somatic education, CPR, pain management. You obviously have to show proof of the hours, and everything needs to be done by accredited, organization or certified by a licensed or accredited massage or bodywork training. So
So even what topics you can take, even the topics are laid out for you. And if you look through that list, you'll realize that's just about everything in massage. So anything massage related, but it's laid out.
Quick side question on this.
Yeah.
So like with cultural competency, what counts as that? Because I've always wanted to like teach myself Spanish and like go take classes for that. Would that count as that? Or is that just something I'd have to do on my own
Not
time?
the language classes, no, but cultural competency would be something like learning how to do intakes with respect to Hispanic culture, something along those lines. The cultural competency requirement is laid out by the here. So it is put out by the, where is it at? Where is it at? Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Oregon Health Authority, Office of Equity and Inclusion. That's the office that sets the requirements for the class. Oh, the Board of Massage just says, yeah, that, whatever that is, we want that. It's this office, the Office of Equity and Inclusion, that lays out the guidelines for what is cultural competency. And what they say is, it deals with self-awareness and self-assessment of the provider's, my own beliefs, attitudes, emotions, values, acquisition of provider knowledge, acquisition of provider skills, and specific educational approaches for acquisition of provider knowledge and skills. Now that's a technical definition. It's going to be other experts that have to actually write those courses, like me, would have to take those guidelines and then make sure that I've included everything in my class, which I then send to them to get it approved. And once they approve it, now I can tell the board of massage, hey, I have this cultural competency class. And then the board of massage says, cool.
What would be like an example of a cultural competency class? Do you have any off the top of your head that fall under this?
To find an OHA approved training, we go to currently approved education trainings, and there's, well, a whole list of them. But to my knowledge, I believe at OSM, Kevin Moore teaches a class called polyvagal theory. I believe that one is a cultural competency, or has a cultural competency component. I know we have one at OSM. Yeah, the polyvagal class taught by Kevin Moore. Confirmed. So we do offer one. Cool, cool, cool. All right. License statuses. Ida and Tilly, any interesting info on license statuses?
Well, it definitely was interesting, like trying to hunt down information. I did find, at least under the ORS like list of actual rules, there is the section 687.061 that kind of just talks about expiration and renewals of licenses, permits, and all that stuff, and penalties. And then also 687.081 also outlines all the grounds for denial, suspension, and revocation of or refusing to renew licenses and permits. You know, if you're making false representations, or if you're too drunk while you're holding your license, that's an example.
Abuse is a reason they can take the license. But what I'm really looking at is, or what I'm really looking for, let's start at the top. What's an active license? It's not a trick question. You are actively practicing massage. Your license is on and active. Yep. So what about deceased? I mean, the person died. Expired.
Not
longer
renewed.
active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens first is the first license renewal period comes, and I do not renew my massage license. So now my license status changes from active to
expired.
Inactive.
Not yet, inactive. From active to inactive. Inactive is defined in the law as you missed registration. You either didn't pay the fee or you didn't do your continuing ed. You can stay inactive for years, but at a certain point, that inactive license will become expired. And now you don't, it's done. You want to be a massage therapist again? You got to go back to school. and do the whole thing over again. It takes years for it to expire, just so you're aware. What about lapsed?
I didn't find anything on lapsed.
Neither did I.
So when you go in the OAR, under, maybe it's under 2, yep, page 2, 010, 17, lapsed license. The massage therapist license is considered lapsed if an individual fails to complete the renewal process prior to the expiration of the license. So just like inactive, lapsed means you didn't pay your fee on time. You didn't pay your renewal fee on time. So when your license lapses less than 24 months, you can return to active status by pay the fee, pay the late fee, prove 25 hours of continuing education, verify your 4 hours of ethics and communication, prove you still have current life support and CPR certification, redo your fingerprints. So there's steps for it. What about retired? Well, that's retired. You retired. Revoked. We saw an example of this earlier, right?
Been removed.
Yeah, they took it from you. They snatched your massage license. Surrendered means you voluntarily gave it away. You gave it up. Usually you are surrendering the license to keep it from being revoked. It looks so much better that you gave it up than it does that they took it from you. And suspended is just that, suspended. For some period of time, you cannot massage for money. And that means if you have a really good boss, they might give you some shifts at the front desk so you can keep your job at the spa until your suspension is up. And if you don't have such a cool boss, then you got to go flip burgers for a while until you can come back and do massage again. But your license is not active. You cannot do massage for money.
What are the reasons that you could get your license suspended?
I hate to point you back here, but when we come here, we talk about discipline. They may deny, grant, restrict, suspend, or revoke a license for any of these reasons: practicing as a massage therapist without an active license, knowingly or recklessly making a false statement to the board, subject to disciplinary action in another state. They list out all the reasons. I'm going to sum it up for you guys. If you lie to the board, if you break the rules that you know you're supposed to follow with clients, like you know the way you're supposed to talk to them, you know the difference between therapeutic touch and sexual touch. We understand how therapeutic relationships work. If you're following the rules, you're fine. But when you start breaking rules and lying to the board and recklessly making claims about stuff that you're not able to talk about, prescribing, doing diagnoses, adjusting spines for money, this is what I mean when I say, if you have a perfect career, you have no idea who's on the board of massage because they only interfere when you break rules. They never reach out to you to tell you what a good citizen you are. Nope. Nope. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Last up, Holly, massage board. How many people on the massage board?
7.
7 people.
It says 3 have to be members of the public,
Mhm.
and one of those members of the public has to work in a public health setting.
Mhm.
And then the other 4 have to be LMTs.
Perfect.
The board members are selected by the governor. Sounds like based on geography and ethnic groups to stay balanced.
Oh, yes. Yes, the Oregon, interestingly, requires them to balance ethnicity and geographical region to make sure that enough people are represented. Yep.
Yep. It says the term is 4 years, but you can be eligible for reappointment. The board is allowed to make rules on public health and safety, issuance of new licenses, renewals, suspensions, and revocations, fixing educational or training requirements for licensing, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yep.
Looking at the board
So
minutes, it looks like
there, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, Holly. I'm sorry.
that's okay. What'd you say?
I was saying basically what we're getting at here is the legal justification for everything else we've been talking about. Why can the board issue licenses? Because this one right here says they can, and that they can take your license away, and they govern educational requirements. They set the rules for what you have to do to get a license. This is the area that lays out their power. That's it. I'm done.
Oh. I was looking at the meeting minutes, and it looks like it says that they can set a meeting for whenever they want to, but they tend to have them every 2 months. And the last thing I wrote down was they get paid $100 whole a day when performing board duties.
Yep. Being a board member does not pay a whole
Yeah.
lot. In total, it's like $10,000 a year or something like that. It's a tiny amount of money that they get paid. But the important thing is, guys, who sits on the board? 4 of them are massage therapists. 4 of them have the same license you have. So they know exactly what and how and why all these rules are in place. The other 3 are members of the public. And that's, again, what is the whole point of this? What's the point of the board? Is to protect the public. The board of massage is not on your side. They are not here to protect you. The board of massage is here to protect the public from you. So we got to have members of the public. One of them has to be licensed in another public health field. So something like a nurse or a doctor or a respiratory therapist, a chiropractor, some other medical professional is going to sit on that board to advise of general medical best practices and things like that. But it's important that a member of the public be appointed because the public is the point. That's who they're there to protect. The other important thing is the governor appoints them. So guess who gets appointed? Close friends of the governor. Nepotism. Nepotism. All right. Very, very good.
But they're
job.
also right now, I think right now they're looking for somebody that is a healthcare person to add to the board. They don't have one currently.
They'll find one. They always find one.
This did say that the
Governor
members of
Brown
the
will
public
appoint a
can't
whole
be
bunch of
family
people before she
members.
leaves office. Bet. Say that again. Sorry.
It does say that the members of the public cannot be the family member to an LMT.
Yes, the public people cannot be immediate family with an LMT. All right. Excellent job, you guys. I understand that digging through a website that looks like this for information, I get it. I get it. But here's what I'm telling you guys. The way you get good at finding what you need in the law is by looking at the law a lot. You read these things over and over. You start to understand how they're organized. You don't memorize the whole thing. You just know where to look, what section to crack open to find the information that you need. So we talked about all of these. Homework assignment. I want you to think about those pros and cons of regulation. There are lots of good reasons and lots of downsides to being regulated. I want you to give me in a half page to 1 page your opinion. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I want you to make 3 points to argue your case, for or against. 3 main points as to why you think regulation is good or bad. And you got to do it in a half page to a page, no more than 1 page. I want you to submit this in Moodle before our next class next Tuesday. So you got a whole week. Good stuff? Questions? Awesome. All right. I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful one, and I will see you Tuesday.
Thank
Quick
you.
question, Dave.
See you later. Question on a different class, David.
Let me stop the recording.